Greetings, YouTube. Thank you for visiting me today. In this video, I'm going to be discussing this great awakening that you may have heard about and how it may be affecting all of our lives. First, if you have not seen my videos yet, my name is Alyssa, and I have a blog in this channel called The Self-Pursuit, covering the topics of self-empowerment, limiting self-beliefs, and more specifically, the law of attraction. So if any of those good things interest you, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Please like this video if you do end up enjoying it, and hit that bell icon so that you can be notified when I post new videos. Now that that's out of the way, what is this great awakening that you may have heard about? Or maybe you haven't heard about it yet. Either way, we have reached yet another point in history where shit has hit the global fan. And we as a collective consciousness, as a society, as the human race, what have you, we're all starting to open our eyes and question what this whole game of life has been about. We're waking up to things that we may have been kept in the dark about, so we're asking more questions. People have lost loved ones, people have gotten sick, they've lost jobs, their livelihoods, etc. And we're all sort of mentally shifting in several ways because of this. Not to mention all the new norms that we're having to get used to on a daily basis now. We watch the news and listen to politicians every day telling us contradicting stories about what we should do, what to believe, and what we need to fear, to the point where we're starting to stand up and ask different types of questions. Can I truly rely on this job as a secure source of income for me and my family? Is what I'm being told to do on a daily basis now really in the best interest of all of us? Are our leaders taking this time of stress and panic and using it to their benefit to better control us? Can I really trust the people that I've watched on my local news stations for years and years to provide accurate information to me when I need it? And the big one, have I been living my life the way that I should have been? And these are just a few questions that more and more people are asking now. And if you haven't really read into the history of why law of attraction practices have, I guess you can say, more recently been brought to light, it's because starting as far back as being able to call it ancient times, the global elites had the great idea to keep the fact that we're able to create our own realities a secret from us. And ultimately, that's to keep the poor poor and the rich rich, as we might know. You may have seen or read The Secret. I think it came out in like 2006, somewhere around there. But it covers that very topic, which is why it's called The Secret. And of course, The Secret was passed down generation through generation, which is why only a tiny percent of the world is insanely wealthy, hence the title, The 1%. So it's been a way to keep us in our lane, so to speak. But unfortunately, those lanes have been created for us instead of by us. Do your own research with this, of course. There's only so much info I can throw into one video about this. But in truth, we are facing this awakening after really looking at how our lives have been going up until this point. I've mentioned a couple times that we've all been programmed to believe certain things about ourselves and what we're capable of accomplishing. In fact, our potential has been purposefully downplayed right before our eyes, and this was done by society drilling as much negativity into our brains as possible. Take the news, for instance. The vast majority of what we see and read regarding what's going on in the world has been negative, including what's been going on now. Misinformation is consistently spreading, but the trend is that it's predominantly bad news. We hear more good news from hearing about our coworkers' weekend than we hear from the media. This is also done through TV shows, music, movies, school, etc. Not that we can't all enjoy our movies and music, but just be careful. But we were conditioned to believe false things about ourselves and false things about the way the world works. We weren't taught about money management in school, so now most of us struggle financially as adults. And when we're stuck in fear, financial hardship, and ultimate self-loathing, we are so much easier to control. Imagine being a kid again and watching TV shows and seeing how attractive is supposed to look. We sat back and watched how pop stars and movie stars were more loved or desired by looking a certain way. And I know this is a cliche example, but most of us now have countless insecurities about ourselves. And we grow up to live in a consistent state of comparison as well as victimhood, and that is not a winning combination. and so creates the negative life cycle. What about careers that you've told people that you've wanted to have before and they laughed at you and they told you that you weren't good enough for that, or that you're too this, you're too that? Even if you may have brushed it off at the time, it may have been stored subconsciously, and now you're having trouble breaking into that career. That's part of the problem. We rely way too much on what other people approve of, as opposed to asking ourselves what we want. And I think part of this is to unconsciously reassure our fears and avoid potential failure, but what do I know? So this conditioning leads to lifelong subconscious fears and self-doubt, leaving most of society in a low vibration, which keeps most of us from chasing things that we want. So in a consistent state of fear, we're more likely, almost in a state of panic sometimes, to turn to leadership and authority for guidance on how we should respond to certain issues. We've been deliberately trapped in this tunnel vision state of mind. We're so distracted by the negativity that's surrounding us all the time, being projected by the media, leadership, and society in general, that we can't see the incredible things that the universe is actually trying to provide to us. And that is not an accident. But our focus is now starting to shift, and we're starting to trust our own instincts a little bit more and realize who has our backs and who doesn't. Our consciousness has been awakened, hence the Great Awakening. So how does this affect you? You might be saying, okay, well that's great, but I'm still jobless or stuck in a job I hate, and now I'm irritated to learn that I've been programmed this way, and I'm always broke, and no one wants to date me, nothing seems to be going right in my life. Okay. Well, since you're here watching this, it's a safe bet that you're now aware that you have been conditioned to believe certain things about yourself that are not true. Lies. But you are beyond what you've been conditioned to believe that your potential is. So accept that as fact, but take some responsibility for allowing these negative patterns to continue for so long in your life. Remember, we're getting out of that victim mentality. So now it's time to take a step back and realize what you're passionate about in life, and you have to raise your vibrations to match that. And I know you might be thinking, that's too difficult. How can I defy what I'm naturally and scientifically vibrating at? Well, that's not your natural vibration. If it was, you'd be happy. So if you've spent years allowing your vibes to be lowered by your surroundings, unaware that it was even happening, what makes you think you can't consciously reverse it back? I told a friend of mine the other day that it's kind of like we've been stuck in a whirlpool. Like we started out swimming in a straight line, but then at some point in life, we got pulled away from that, and we've just been swimming round and round in this whirlpool, creating the same pattern over and over and over again. And then when we realize what's happening, we try so desperately to get out of it, and there's so much resistance, and it might be exhausting, but we can reverse that pattern. It just takes some time, effort, and wanting to do it enough. Don't look at raising your vibrations as some big project. Look at it in pieces or little steps. So again, it's time to take a step back, acknowledge these things, and start reconditioning your mind based on the vibration that you want to reach. There's a term in neuroscience called neuroplasticity, and it's defined as the brain's ability to be reprogrammed or rewired for new ways of thinking. And your brain can be reprogrammed in many ways, but for the sake of time, I'll just share 3 of them with you right now. If you've watched my last couple of videos, you understand how big I am on meditation, so you could probably see this one coming. But if you're new to the channel, I'm really big on meditation. So that's why I recommend, after determining what you're passionate about, start doing some cleansing inner work to clear out the negative energy that's been subconsciously blocking you from getting and doing what you want. So for example, if you've been trying to break into your dream career, but for some reason, no matter your efforts, it just doesn't seem to be happening for you, and you're getting frustrated and you're becoming desperate, instead of asking yourself why things are going so horribly, ask yourself, what might be inside of me that's not allowing this career, or not allowing the action that's required to get this career? More often than not, it's an issue of self-worth. You don't feel like you're worthy of performing to a certain degree that may be required in that job. You may have heard my story. I thought that growing up, I just wasn't smart. So that one issue on self-worth, I had a lot of other issues too, but that one alone blocked so many amazing experiences that I could have had. I didn't know that I undervalued myself until I started meditating. And if you're a beginner, I completely understand. You're thinking it's just sitting in silence and clearing your thoughts. And yeah, it can absolutely be that. But you'd be meditating for something very specific in this case. Plus, if you're at all like me, your thoughts race faster than Seabiscuit. So you want something that's gonna help keep you focused. So I recommend guided meditations. You can look them up right here on YouTube. You can search for guided meditations on letting go or subconscious block guided meditation, something like that. So doing this will allow you to let go of those inner beliefs that are no longer serving you, such as feeling less than your worth. Second way to start rewiring your mind, visualization. You may have come across this topic once or twice if you've been studying this stuff for a while, and there's a reason for that. But if you have not come across visualization yet, it's a law of attraction practice where you get into an intense meditative-like focus on your goals and desires. So basically, you're seeing this life play out as if it's happening right now, and you start feeling it. You implement the emotions of what it would be like to have that life. And I actually started to do this as part of my meditation routine, starting with listening to a letting go meditation for about 15-20 minutes. Of course, you could do one shorter than that. I know there's like 5-10 minute ones out there as well. Then I would get into visualizing for another 20 minutes or so. This helps to gradually get you into the vibration of that reality. And eventually evidence of that reality will start showing up. So make sure you know what you want and clearly set up that new life in your mind. And get excited about it. And number 3, scripting. This kind of ties into visualization, but scripting is a little bit more powerful because it involves writing out your goals and desires as if it's already happening. And humans in general are just very visual creatures, and writing something down just helps information stick a lot faster. So for this, you can always get a new journal and use it as your scripting journal. To be honest, it was kind of difficult for me to get results with this method at first, but that was only because I had so many negative subconscious beliefs, and I kind of jumped right into my scripting, almost in an unrealistic fantasy-like way. Just got a little excited. So my brain was subconsciously calling BS to what I was writing. So I realized that starting smaller helped tackle that. So for example, instead of writing about how amazing it is being a billionaire, you can script about how grateful you are for how you're gradually increasing your current income by starting to do what you love. By starting small, you're giving yourself something that you can consciously determine as being more realistic. So figure out what your passion is and script by building it up one piece at a time so that your subconscious isn't just blowing these outrageous statements off. That being said, I'll give you an extra little tip that goes into all 3 of these things, which is to start suspending your disbelief. An example of that is when you watch a movie, you understand that the people that you're watching are just actors and the special effects are just CGI and advanced technology, but you suspend your disbelief in all of that and you allow yourself to enjoy the movie anyway. And it almost feels real for the time being. Remember, your lane has been paved for you, not by you. You were programmed to think that certain things are not possible for you. And you just haven't seen or experienced these things yet because you still have yet to match its vibration. And you have to do this by immersing yourself into that life or that desire as much as you possibly can, starting by using these tips that I gave you. Well, I hope that gave you some insight on this great awakening, but even more so, I really hope that these tips helped you get excited to create a new life for yourself. So thank you so much for watching today. Again, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to this channel, like this video if you did end up enjoying it, and drop a comment below if you have any questions or if you want to tell me about your own experience with any of these. But other than that, I hope you all have a great day, much love, and I'll see you next time.